sweat around faster this time than I did last time.
Yes, you did.
Well, maybe we should give a heads up, because we're going to start into Romans 3 today. But I think a quick heads up just on where we've been. You know, Paul wrote this letter, and he did not want us to feel as though we were forbidden, but instead we were called. Okay? All of us are called in Jesus. And in fact, that God wishes not for us to be separated as people, but instead he wants to reconcile us. So we use the word both. Okay, I'll put this here. And you want to take the next one?
Sure. God isn't, he doesn't have, or
Yeah, you got it.
he doesn't have apathy, but he has anger.
Yeah,
He
the
cares.
opposite of anger is apathy, not caring. God does care. And he cares that the world is, I've got objects that are broken that I really cared about, and I get frustrated that they're broken. I still like them. And God looks at this whole world. And so God has to play not unfair, just picking privileged people, but in fact, fair. And I think we kind of left it that, to be fair, what part of the world is broken?
All of it?
All of it, yeah. Who is part of the broken?
Everyone.
Everyone, including, and Paul in Romans 2 went through saying Gentiles or non-religious people, and religious, that all of us fall under that. So let's take Romans 3, and I think we'll get into, today we're going to see, should we give them a heads up as to which words? Okay. So you can say which word is on the back.
Sin.
Sin. It's the first time we've had this word really mentioned, okay? We'll start to explain what sin is. And on the other side, law. Now people usually think if you get the law, then somehow it's going to fix things up. We're going to see Paul's argument takes us just a little different today. So Kate, I think we decided that we're going to start right down at verse 9, and you get to start from the Message translation. I hope you all have your Bibles open, because you should be putting these words by the side of the column. So what do you have?
So where does that put us? Do we Jews get a better break than the others? Not really. Basically all of us, whether inside or outsiders, start out in identical conditions, which is to say that we all start out as sinners. As
sinners, there's our word. And I think that's the first time it's actually mentioned in Romans. He comes up with one word that kind of covers everything. And then he goes on with a whole bunch of Bible passages from the Old Testament, almost all of them from the Psalms, where he says, there's no one righteous, not even one. No one who understands. No one seeks God. All have turned away. You get that emphasis of, this is everybody who's under this, yeah. They have together become worthless. There's no one who does good, not even one. Their throats are open graves. Their tongues practice deceit. The poison of vipers is on their lips. Their mouths are full of cursing and bitterness. Boy, this is not a happy passage, is it? Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery mark their ways. And the way of peace they don't know. There's no fear of God before their eyes. Boy, he quotes all those things, just laying down the law that this is where everybody's at. So I think we decided you get to take our last two verses for today.
This makes it clear, doesn't it? And whatever is written in these scriptures is not what God says about others, but to us, to whom these scriptures were addressed to in the first place. And it's clear enough, isn't it, that we're sinners, every one of us, in the same sinking boat with everyone else. Our involvement with God's revelation doesn't put us right with God. What it does is force us to face our complicity in everyone else's sin.
There's a big word, complicity. We could have put that on. All of us are complicit. All of us are together in sin. And in fact, the law doesn't fix up the world. The law points out the problem. And I think that's something we as Lutheran Christians, that's our part of the neighborhood, we as Lutheran Christians kind of understand that the law, while it is good and while it is noble, the law really doesn't fix things up. The law's purpose is to point out that all of us are coming before the judge, whether Jew or Gentile, whether slave or free, whether Greek or whether Israelite, whether religious or non-religious, all of us are there. And the law does something to kind of, it's kind of like it's looking at the problem and diagnosing the problem.
Yes, kind of like a doctor.
Okay. Tell me how a doctor would be like with the law.
A doctor points out what is wrong.
Oh, and if you were to come in and just say, I just want to hear good news, doctor, would that be a good doctor? Who said,
No.
the doctor wants you not just to feel good. Doctor wants you to actually
Point out the problem.
point out the problem and know what the problem is. In this case, the problem is sin. Paul has spent a long time saying all of us were coming before the doctor, all of us are coming before the court, and we need to hear something that's special. We need to hear all of us need help,
Yes.
and we aren't going to be able to help ourselves.
No, we aren't.
So the law always accuses. That is our Lutheran understanding. Again, that doesn't mean the law is bad. No, the law is actually good. You know, I may, in weeks to come, share a little bit of story. Have you had a chance to be on a jury yet?
No.
Okay. Your day may come. And you know what? A lot of people try to get out of jury duty. I encourage you to take that jury duty and just see, when you get into a jury, you realize, and you're sitting in a courtroom, that the law doesn't fix up a situation. The law points out what's right and what's wrong. And then it points towards the need for repair or reparation in some way. It points out, and everybody who comes into the courtroom is in the law, or under the law in that. Paul is saying all of us are under the law. Not exactly a happy message. Maybe we have to wait till next week.
I think so.
Okay, and for next week, since the law points out that everyone's wrong, who's going to fix us up? You can whisper it to me. Who is it? Jesus. Okay. Do you realize Jesus' name hasn't even been mentioned since chapter 1, verse 2?
Mm-hmm.
Or verse 8, excuse me. That we haven't heard about Jesus yet.
No, we haven't.
In fact, we've been hearing the sin. Do you want to hang it? I guess you can put it over anger. And maybe next week we'll hear how we have somebody who becomes our neighbor, right?
Yes, we do.
And who is it? Jesus. So I guess we'll say
See you later, neighbor.